F1 incidents cost teams a lot of money, ranging from $100,000 to $150,000 when the suspension or front wings breaks to a few $1,000,000 when there is a significant disaster. The cost skyrockets when more than one automobile collides in the same accident. F1 vehicles are incredibly sophisticated and contain various little pieces that tend to shatter in an accident. Therefore, there is usually a lot of debris on the track following an accident. Let's get right into it. Why are F1 collisions so costly? To answer this question, it is important to learn how much F1 vehicles cost. F1 vehicles are nearly entirely hand-built using highly sensitive and technical materials like carbon fiber over thousands of hours. Each car is a unique prototype that differs from the others and even from the other car in the same team. Each item is incredibly pricey because of the high level of technology and accuracy. An automobile development costs between $150 and $400 million, with a car costing roughly $20 million. As a result, the cost of an accident varies based on the damaged automobile elements. The most vulnerable sections are the suspension, tires, front and rear wings, and floor and barge boards. On the other hand, the most significant and complicated accidents might damage the chassis, gearbox, and some engine sections, which are the most expensive components. For example, the collision between Valtteri Bottas and George Russell at the 2021 Emilia-Romagna GP cost Mercedes $1.3 million since both exterior aspects, the chassis, and several pieces of the engine and transmission were damaged. The start of the 1998 Belgian Grand Prix was one of the most dramatic in F1 history. The race began in severe rainy conditions, but the decision was made to start the race without a safety car. A poor choice. The catastrophe occurred in less than 15 seconds. David Coulthard lost control of his car on the first turn exit and was thrown across the track. A chain reaction occurred when other cars could not notice him due to poor visibility. Numerous automobiles collided, resulting in a terrifying mess of debris and tires. This collision included 13 of the 22 vehicles on the grid and is believed to have cost about $13 million, making it the costliest incident in F1 history. Luckily and miraculously, no significant injuries were sustained in the collision. With only one backup car for each team, 4 of the 22 drivers were unable to restart the race. Damon Hill won the race, which was extremely rough, with just 8 drivers crossing the finish line. Pierre Gasly, Lewis Hamilton, Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz, and Kevin Magnussen explained what it's like to wreck an F1 car in a video posted to the F1 official YouTube account. Because F1 vehicles travel at such high speeds, everything happens at a breakneck pace. When a motorist loses control of his vehicle, it only takes a few seconds until he collides with the barriers or another vehicle, leaving the driver with little choice except to clench his muscles and brace for impact. Some crashes are uncomfortable because of the G-forces created by decelerating so quickly. In other words, it's like a major traffic collision multiplied by 5. As they get out of the car, if they are okay, the drivers are upset because, as we have seen, an F1 car is highly expensive and takes hundreds of hours to build, but every accident is a learning experience. When there is an accident, the F1 teams are the ones that pay for the damages. If a driver smashes his car, the team fixes and pays for it because the team owns the automobile. When many automobiles collide, each team pays just for their car. That's all there is to it. But since the cost restriction of $145 million was imposed for the 2021 season, this has not been without criticism. Team managers grumble about collisions caused by other teams' drivers since they must pay for their mistakes. No deal has been made, and it does not appear that one will be reached soon, so for the time being, everyone will have to pay for the damage done to their automobiles. Crashing an F1 vehicle is not something to be taken lightly. There are several factors to consider, and the high cost of automobiles makes accidents costly. Luckily, today's safety standards allow most drivers to walk away from a major collision. Crashes are a common occurrence in motocross racing, regardless of the category. F1 is not immune to it, but it has worked so hard on safety that a driver typically emerges unscathed. Nonetheless, the cost of an F1 collision has only risen due to the escalating values of the vehicles and equipment introduced during development. Nevertheless, a few essential auto parts are not only pricey, but also inevitable. As a result, every F1 collision would need a financial outlay on the part of the team. When teams are fortunate, it may not cost more than a couple of $1,000s. Alternatively, it may cost $1 million as well. Valtteri Bottas and George Russell had one of the most spectacular collisions last year. It took several heated conversations between the two drivers before Russell recognized his error. On the other hand, The damage Mercedes sustained from Russell's Williams was believed to be roughly $1.3 million. The car's engines were saved, or else it would have exploded. As previously stated, the damaged equipment must be replaced. As a result, the cost of an F1 collision determines their viability after being struck. A single F1 car's front wing costs roughly $140,000. Furthermore, the chassis, which also plays an important role in the driver's lives after a severe collision, might cost more than $700,000. Moreover, a team's gearbox costs between $500,000 and $600,000. Its component was broken in Max Verstappen's collision at Silverstone, and Red Bull officially claimed $1.8 million in repair costs. Also, F1 engines are prone to damage in collisions. Charles Leclerc's engine was allegedly damaged due to a collision with Lance Stroll. A typical engine costs roughly $18 million. This is why the cost of producing F1 vehicles exceed $20 million. As a result, it's a significant loss because teams are only allowed to take 3 power units every season, after which they face fines per component or the entire power unit. Repair expenses were not a major issue for large teams before implementing budget limitations. They had vast sums of money to cover them, but tiny teams were always a source of concern. But now with a $140 million budget, teams such as Ferrari and Mercedes are concerned about budget management, including repair expenses. Mick Schumacher cost Haas about $4.4 million last year, the most in the whole grid in 2021. Consequently, with 2 drivers, the repair expenses are bound to be in the $8 to $10 million range with no wrongdoing on the team's part. The cost of repairing a crashed Formula 1 F1 car can vary widely based on several factors, including the extent of the damage, the specific components that need to be replaced or repaired, and the team's available resources. As of my knowledge cut-off date in September 2021, here are some key points to consider. F1 cars are highly specialized, custom-built racing machines, and their components are often extremely expensive. This means that even minor repairs can be costly. In the event of a severe crash, the team may need to replace entire sections of the car, such as the front wing, rear wing, suspension components, or even the monocoque, the central structure of the car. This can lead to high costs. Some components, like the engine and gearbox, are particularly expensive. If these components are damaged in a crash, the cost of repairs can escalate quickly. The financial resources of the team can also affect the cost of repairs. Wealthier teams may have backup parts readily available, while smaller teams may need to factor in the cost of manufacturing new components. Finally, it's important to note that the cost of repairing a crashed F1 car is just one part of the overall financial impact. The team may also face potential loss revenue from reduced performance on the track or even withdrawal from a race. As a result of these factors, the cost of repairing a crashed F1 car can range from tens of thousands to potentially millions of dollars, depending on the severity of the crash and the specific components affected. Thank you for stopping by to watch. Please subscribe to the channel and post your video recommendations in the comments area if you want us to do more videos like this.